This is the summary of Life's Amazing Secrets, written by Gaur Gopal, narrated by Rodney Tompkins, produced by the Good Book Company. Life's Amazing Secret. In the quest to acquire all the luxuries of this world, people tend to live a lopsided life. They forget that life is like a meter rule placed on a knife edge, which needs balanced weight at both sides of the rule. However, what is this balanced weight that needs to be added at both sides of your life? Spirituality. The aspects of life can be balanced by attaining spiritual enlightenment. This helps clear the mind of pain, stress, and even make life better. Therefore, how can you attain a considerable balance between spiritual life and other aspects of life? Your personal life, relationship, career, and social life. Read on. Happiness comes from being appreciative, even in tragic circumstances. Count your blessings, they say. In the face of misfortune or disaster, this isn't always easy, as man's mind has a way of latching on and focusing on the effects of a particular disaster. People gnash their teeth and allow their happiness to be taken from them. No matter how blessed you are, a moment of disaster could be enough to take the appreciation of whatever blessings you have away. It's easy to forget why you should be appreciative, but if you look at the life of Gandharvika's parents, the author's friend, you could learn the lesson and draw a few tips on how you can continue to show appreciation to the gifts life has given you. The author's friend had a severely sick daughter who had been diagnosed with Burkitt's lymphoma, a kind of cancer noted for its quick growing rate and extremely destructive capabilities. At 4 years and a few months, the friend's daughter was already expected to die. Imagine the dread that would have gripped some parents who normally would gnash their teeth, wail, and blame their misfortune on some mystical being. Gandharvika's parents were unique in the way they chose to deal with their misfortune. The terrible event, which was meant to turn their life upside down, didn't face them to the point that they would forget the blessings of life they had enjoyed. They kept their heads down and focused on taking care of their daughter, and fought the despair that should have descended on them with every inch of their will. The parents' attitude of appreciation was boosted by the support they received from their family and friends, who rose to the occasion, showered them with lots of support. They helped with the payment of the treatment costs and offered many prayers for the child. The parents were overwhelmed by the support they got. They chose to show immense appreciation for the support they got instead of wallowing in the sea of their misfortune. Truth be told, not many parents can act like Gandharvika's parents did. It's not easy to show appreciation in times like that. It's easier to fall into despair and letting it suck one into its unending depth. Everyone wants to fight that feeling when one falls into those kinds of unfortunate situations. The best way to fight and survive those situations with your physical and mental health intact is to show appreciation and focus on the positive moments you've had. In every unfortunate situation, there is always a silver lining. For Gandharvika's parents, it was the support they got from friends and family. You should try to focus on that silver lining and that beacon of hope. The author suggests that a form of record should be kept to measure the amount of good and positive things that have happened to you. This record should not focus on the big things alone. It should also contain the smallest of things. It could be a glass of water that was offered to you on a sunny day, or a stranger paying for your lunch, and so on. You should take a few minutes out of your day to record all these things that you're appreciative of. Taking records of what you're appreciative of would help train the mind to be positive. You'd be able to know what you appreciate, and as well to be able to remember it. This way, an attitude of appreciation is cultivated and developed. You should, however, never be selfish, and always want to be on the receiving end of appreciative acts. You should also build the habit of doing the same to other people. You should help people build their appreciative record. To develop this habit, you should have a record that contains all the good deeds you've done for other people. Focusing on the positive things would help preserve your mental health and keep you happy. Happiness breeds a better and more beautiful life. Having robust spiritual life helps your personal life. The inevitable truth is life throws painful jabs at you, even when you think you're good. Life will want to knock you down a perch or two, but being unique is getting hit and not staying down. The successful people in this life didn't always have it rosy. They've been defeated several times, but they never gave up. Oprah Winfrey suffered sexual abuse. Walt Disney was labeled as boring and would never make it in drawing cartoons. Colonel Sanders of Kentucky Fried Chicken failed so many times before he was able to start his own fast food business. Muhammad Ali suffered too many setbacks, but he never gave up. He came back stronger than he was before. That is how life is. Sometimes unfortunate events precede moments of immense success. That you have to persevere and not be taken in by those events. The life of the founder of WhatsApp, Brian Acton, had a similar story. He had worked hard for Apple and Yahoo for 12 years of his life, and he decided in 2007 to take a year off with his friend John Combe. After their vacation, they couldn't get jobs. They had massive experience, but they were rejected by Twitter and Facebook. He didn't focus on the rejections and disappointment. He kept a positive manner, and he even tweeted encouraging tweets on Twitter. He was, in his own words, looking forward to life's next adventure. He had that adventure as he created WhatsApp. The app is arguably the most used chat apps today, and was later bought by Facebook in 2014 for $19 billion. However, how can you be like Brian Acton? You can adopt the author's flowchart by identifying whether you have a problem, and if you do, you can do something about it. If you can't do something about it, worrying wouldn't solve anything. There's no need to waste any energy worrying, as it's pointless. Also, you should adopt the spiritual principle of detachment with enlightening clarity. This principle is crucial to maintaining happiness and enjoying your personal life. You should adopt this principle to improve your spiritual practice and to connect to your God, as the author suggests. This is necessary, as you are spiritual beings. The author recognizes the existence of many religions and the different gods, but didn't impose any God on you. The author believes that building a connection with your God is very crucial to happiness and would help you appreciate your blessings, and also show love and kindness to others. So, how can you connect to your God? The author suggests meditation as a means of connecting to your God, and prefers the mantra meditation, which involves the repeated chanting of holy words or meaningful words. Apart from the spiritual benefit, it has health benefits as it helps in removing stress. Improving yourself is crucial to improving your relationships. People are inclined to judge others. They often perceive what others do from their prism, sometimes not caring how flawed or dirty that prism is. Take, for instance, the story of a man whose wife always gazed through the window to view their neighbor's clothes. Thinking their neighbor's clothes are always dirty every time she looked at it from their window. She kept this thought until one day, when she caught a glimpse of their neighbor's clothes and discovered that their clothes were very clean. She was taken aback. She told her husband that they must have hired people to wash the clothes for them. Her husband was shocked to hear this from her, and told her she had been looking at the neighbor's clothes through a dirty window. That is, the neighbor's clothes had never been dirty. It was the wife's view that was dirty. So, when you're trying to interpret other people's opinions, you should also check yourself and ask yourself if your view isn't dirty, like that of the wife's above. You should be careful about how you see others to prevent a wrong view of them. This is very crucial if you're to master the art of having and keeping relationships. The author believes that people are bent on seeing things their way. Some are focused on seeing well, some are indifferent, and some are intent on seeing bad. The author categorizes them as follows. Category 1 people. This set of people choose to see the bad in others. They only see the negative qualities of people, and often blow out the proportion of those negative qualities they perceive. Category 2 people. These are two-faced people. They can see the good and bad in others, but choose to focus on the bad. Category 3 people. They also see the good and bad in others. They prefer turning blind eyes to either the bad or the good, unlike the Category 2 people that focus on the bad in others. Category 4 people. They see both the good and bad, but have trained themselves not to focus on the negatives in others. These set of people structure themselves in a way that they understand how society is structured. To them, the preservation of relationships is more important. For instance, the CEO of Hindalco Industries, Aditya Birla, barely rebukes his employees. He chose to focus more on their positive qualities, rather than the bad. Category 5 people. These people never see the bad in others, and when they do, they shun it, and celebrate the smallest good they see. These sets of people are extremely rare, and they don't allow themselves to be deterred when people hurt them. However, choosing to acquire a Category 5 trait may seem like building a castle in the air, but you could train yourself to be like Category 4 people and focus on improving and preserving relationships. Criticisms must be affirmative. Forgiveness should be mastered. No doubt, your view about others can speak volumes of who you are. So having a good view of others can help foster a good relationship with them. Therefore, you must learn to be like Category 4 people, who always choose to focus more on others' good side. And how can this be possible? Firstly, you should be careful about how you talk to people, especially in times of anger. Words are powerful weapons. They can make and they can break. The damage from words can take a lot of time to heal. Thus, you must criticize positively and constructively. To do this, ask yourself this question. Is this the appropriate person to be the critic? Well, if you feel you're not, then it will be preposterous to proceed with whatever comments you have. However, if you feel you are the right person, you should ask if your intention to criticize is positive, and not as a result of any ill will towards the person. Criticism should not be used as a weapon of vengeance. If your intention for criticism is pure, you should ask yourself if you know the correct ways to criticize constructively. Doing this is not hard, but it requires you to train yourself. Note that it's not only what you say that matters, but how you say it. You have to factor in some things such as facial expression, and the tone and voice. You should be calm and gentle, rather than being needlessly aggressive. If you have learned the proper way to criticize, you should then ask yourself if the criticism is coming at the right time. For instance, if someone spends hours working for you and perhaps the work was not done to your satisfaction, hold off criticizing until the person has rested from the hours of working so that they don't get jaded. Finally, forgiveness is central to preserving a relationship. Learn how to forgive. Although to forgive sometimes may be difficult, but it's quite essential you forgive. However, how can you learn to forgive totally? You must find a way to detach the person from the issue. You should change your mindset of thinking that you are the problem, or that another person is the problem. You should instead blame the problem itself, and attack it with an unbiased mind free of blame casting. Practice self-competition. The average workplace can be toxic to unhealthy competition. This is not to say that there isn't healthy competition in workplaces, but the truth is you're likely to encounter more unhealthy competition than healthy ones. Thus, you should be careful, because competition, if not checked and defined, can ruin relationships. For instance, a very talented photographer who happens to be the author's friend was once a victim of competition. Both the HR manager and the stylist in his team coveted his achievement. They ganged up against him, and he was frustrated by serial accusations which almost ruined his career. Fortunately for him, the truth came to light. He chose to leave the company despite repeated pleas from the director. The place was just too negative for him, and he chose to establish his studio. To compete healthily, you must not compete with others. Instead, compete with yourself. This may seem absurd until you take into context what the award-winning actor, Matthew McConaughey, said during his Oscar acceptance speech in 2014. When McConaughey was asked at age 15 who was his hero, he replied after having a deep thought about the question, "It's me in 10 years. 10 years later, the same person asked him if he had become a hero. McConaughey responded, "Not even close, because my hero is me at 35. That is one of the perfect examples of self-competition. Self-competition is good, and it will help cure envy and allows you to focus on yourself. Your reason for living can be discovered in what you love. When you compete, you would need to give yourself a purpose to be able to sustain it. Discovering your purpose can sometimes be difficult, but you can follow Ikigai, the Japanese model of discovering one's purpose, which can be translated as reason to live. Ikigai involves asking specific questions that are tied to the definitive areas of life. Some of these questions are, what do you love? What are you good at? What does the world need? What can you be paid for? You would be able to realize your purpose when you answer each of these questions. You could feel deficient if you don't answer the questions satisfactorily. For example, when you're less remunerated for what you love and good at doing, usually there may be that feeling of almost being satisfied, but there would be a hovering feeling of being useless. On the other hand, if you're getting well paid for the job you love, but you have no idea about doing it well, you could feel like a fraud. To achieve a purpose using Ikigai, you should start early. You have the advantage of switching careers at a young age. This doesn't mean that seeking purpose at the later stage in life isn't good. For instance, you got a job at the later stage of your life, and you often get paid. At that point, you should try and love the job, irrespective of how time-consuming it may be. Focus on the good parts of the job, no matter how demanding the job may be. Love is one of the best motivators. You can use the remaining time you have to do what you love, rather than spending time on frivolous activities. Engage in things you love to do. To contribute socially, you must also contribute to yourself. To be able to give is to have that to give. To exist in peace is to find balance. To help others, you must first help yourself. Charity afterward begins at home. You can only project to others the goods you have. However, there are two approaches to life: enjoying life before it ends, and giving others illumination and guidance before life ends. To be honest, your approach to life may not resemble these two approaches, but you should train yourself to have the habit of giving to others. You can only help others if you're also helped. To contribute to society, you must contribute enough to yourself. This doesn't mean you should try not to help others. Instead, find a balance between giving and not giving. But how? Start with the family. People often give to others forgetting that the powerful obligation is to serve their family. You should realize that the family is the first institution, and whatever charitable acts you want to render, family first. You should learn to be there for your family, both emotionally and physically. It's after you have care for your family that you should look outside of it. This is the beginning of balance. The society at large comes after the family. Providing for family would have prepared you to contribute to society in the most impactful ways. You must give to the society with a clear and pure intention, and not because you simply have to give. Final thoughts. To acquire a life that could serve as a model to others, you need to put balanced weights on both sides of the meter rule placed on a knife edge. However, you must seek to balance all aspects of your life with your spiritual life. These aspects are your personal life, relationships, career, and social contributions. To strike that balance, you must fix up yourself and always choose to focus on the good side of others. Also, you should accept tragedies and rejection as a part of life, and seek to always look beyond the negative periods, and remember to appreciate your blessings.